I want to make sure that this doesn't happen to someone else.
Getting the runaround just to collect Social Security.
They're telling me that it's going to take 4 to 6 weeks for them to approve it.
A Boulder woman thought she'd have to wait months just to get $7,000 left to her by her brother. That's until Contact Denver 7 stepped in.
I watch you all the time, and I know you've helped a lot of people.
And making sure everything's in order and all election systems are secure.
There will always be a paper trail, and it's the hallmark of our model here.
Before primary ballots are sent out next week.
It's more dogs than we have had in over a decade.
Nearing capacity and needing your help. The new measures now in place at the Dumb Friends League.
Adoptions are working. They're just not quite keeping up with the animals coming in.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us for Denver 7 News at 6. I'm Ann Trujillo.
And I am Danny New. We are less than a week away from primary ballots being sent out, and election officials are testing out the equipment to make sure that they're good to go.
However, a new report by the U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Agency is highlighting some vulnerabilities with voting equipment. Denver 7 political reporter Megan Lopez is joining us live now in the newsroom.
Megan, to be clear, there is no evidence that the systems were tampered with, right?
That's correct, Danny. The report simply determined that vulnerabilities with Dominion voting systems do exist. It also stressed the need for states to take more steps to protect their elections equipment from attacks. So we went to the Denver Elections Division today to watch them test out their own equipment before the primary. There's a rhythm to elections in Colorado. Well before ballots even begin to go out to voters.
This is our logic and accuracy test, so we do this before every single election.
The machines used to count them are tested.
This is part of what we do. It's why Denver and other counties and here in Colorado have a safe and a transparent and a secure system.
It's one of the many steps the state mandates for election security at a time when misinformation is rampant. While they test equipment and get ready for the primary, a report soon to be released by the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Agency found this week vulnerabilities in some election equipment. MSU computer science professor Steve Beatty says software vulnerabilities are typical, but
it's a bigger concern, clearly, when it comes to voting machines, because voting and the correct counting of votes is at the very heart of our democracy.
The report, first obtained by the Associated Press, details 9 vulnerabilities in Dominion's Democracy Suite ImageCast X, but found no evidence any of them were used to manipulate elections. Among the weaknesses found, access cards that could be forged, barcodes that don't show a person's full vote for them to review, and USB ports that could be used to upload malicious software. However, Beatty says you'd have to have physical access to the machines.
So even if somebody was very sophisticated, could pull off one of these attacks, there's a very small window and it's one machine that person might be able to effectively attack.
And CISA's executive director insists that standard election security procedures would have detected someone using those vulnerabilities and in many cases prevented the attempts entirely. Back at the Denver Elections Office, clerk and recorder Paul Lopez wants to be clear.
That suite is not used in Colorado, so it doesn't apply to us. We don't use that kind of software.
And the state already follows the security recommendations put out in that report. Denver goes one step further.
We have a lot of tamper-proof seals. You can't just come in with a USB and somehow download software or anything like that. And we're even 3D printing lock seals that you can actually block USB ports and connections.
So both Lopez and Beatty say their biggest concern isn't whether Colorado's elections are secure, but the misinformation about that security and whether voters believe it. Megan Lopez, Denver 7. Now, in a statement to Denver 7, the Secretary of State's office says Colorado does not use the software version researchers evaluated in the report. They also pointed out that the authors had access not only to the machines, but all of the passwords and all of the manuals for an extended period of time. And they stressed that Colorado conducts rigorous post-election audits. And
right. Megan, thank you for that. And going deeper now tonight, election security is come into the spotlight thanks in part to allegations of tampering in the 2020 presidential election by Mesa County Clerk Tina Peters, allegations that were proven false. It was because of Peters that Colorado has a new Election Security Act, and this bill would increase election security by requiring key card access to voting equipment rooms and implementing year-round surveillance. It would also require more training and certification for election officials. Now, the bill passed during this past legislative session. It is still waiting for a signature from the governor. And as for Tina Peters, she was recently barred from overseeing the November election.
Today, a new 24-hour ballot drop box was installed in Highlands Ranch, which can be used by voters in both Arapahoe and Douglas counties. The box will be video monitored, and election officials will separate the ballots dropped off to make sure that they go to the correct county elections department.
Homeland Security Investigations has announced 70 missing children have been located and recovered. This is part of a 3-week-long investigation, and some of those children were found here in Colorado. Operation Lost Souls ran from the end of April through mid-May, and the missing children ranged in age from 10 to 17. Many of them were reported as runaways. A majority were found in Texas and Mexico. We are still waiting on so many details, including how many children were located here in our state.
The Douglas County Sheriff's Office deputy has been arrested for trying to bring contraband into the Douglas County Detention Facility. 24-year-old Carly Jackson is now facing multiple charges, including bribery, attempt to influence a public servant, and first-degree official misconduct. Jackson has since been fired from the force. Contact Denver 7 is our promise to find solutions and be your voice.
So when a Boulder woman reached out to us about Social Security red tape after her brother died, our consumer investigator Jacqueline Allen went to work.
Yeah,
Kathy Kramer's stories of her little brother Richard
that's one of our rock groups. That's Rick there, and that's me.
are filled with music, adventure,
We've toured all over.
and love.
I started getting emotionally. I was kind of felt responsible for him. And so, we looked after each other all the time.
Even at the end, while he battled cancer, she was his caregiver, and he wanted to take care of her too.
He said, I have put $7,000 away, and I'm going to keep that for my funeral expenses. And I was with him when he passed away.
While grieving her loss, she discovered his Social Security money had been deposited in a Direct Express account run by Comerica Bank. It's how millions of Social Security recipients received their benefits.
They gave me the runaround.
With no Comerica branches in Colorado, Kathy says it took a month to even get the paperwork to fill out. The bank told her it would take another 4 to 6 weeks for approval. Her brother's funeral on hold.
Why did you reach out to Contact Denver 7?
Because I watch you all the time, and I know you've helped a lot of people.
We did some digging and found news reports investigating problems with Direct Express debit cards, dozens of one-star reviews with the BBB, plus a previous class action lawsuit. So we reached out to Comerica, and Kathy immediately got a response.
Yesterday, I got a call that they were going to expedite it and get me my check. Like I said, if it hadn't been for Channel 7, I'd still be waiting, probably another month or two. I think it's just marvelous that you help people like you do. This is when he was 2 and I was 8.
Now, instead of dealing with red tape, she's remembering the beautiful music her brother brought to her life.
I'll be fine when you're gone.
In Boulder, for Contact Denver 7, I'm Jacqueline Allen.
Comerica Bank did not comment on this story to us, and neither did the U.S. Department of Fiscal Services, which contracts with Comerica. But if you have an issue, Contact Denver 7 to look into. You can email us at contact7@thedenverchannel.com.
The Dumb Friends League is nearing capacity, and now the shelter has a new update at the top of its website, and it says, due to an unprecedented number of animals in our care, the shelter will only accept dog and small pet surrenders by appointment only. Yes, sadly, too many families are giving away their dogs and small pets to the shelter, and the Dumb Friends League is already hitting capacity limits.
Partly it stems from the pandemic. Some of these animals are animals that were young or were acquired during the pandemic and didn't have opportunities to socialize, to go out and meet people, to be around other dogs. The message I would love for people to hear is that now is a really great time to adopt an animal.
And one of those pets needing a new home is this guy, Prince. He's very energetic, and his previous owner says he loves treats. We have posted Prince's photo on our Denver 7 Facebook page, received lots of comments like Brenda, who said, quote, somebody please give this dog a good home because he is so handsome. And pups like Prince, only $50 right now to adopt. And you can learn more all about him and our other dogs and all other dogs up for adoption at ddfl.org.
Prince is so cute. Oh, Prince. Everyone, you can now book your reservation to visit Quandary Peak. Summit County is requiring either a parking reservation or a shuttle ride to access Quandary Park and the Quandary Peak Trailhead. Reservations cost between $5 and $50. The county started this program last year to address public safety, illegal parking, and overcrowding.
17 extraordinary women who have contributed to Colorado's colorful and storied history will soon be known as the Colorado Women's Hall of Fame Class of 2022. And this year's inductees include 5 contemporary inductees who are being honored for making enduring and exemplary contributions to their fields. 12 inductees are being honored for their historical significance of opening new frontiers for women in Colorado while inspiring future generations. And Denver 7 is proud to once again partner with the Colorado Women's Hall of Fame. And this year's class will officially be inducted early next year.
I see them kind of take a big inhale and exhale, like, oh, it feels really good in here.
A tattoo shop creating a sense of safety and pride.
The dialogue that they were having was so open and inclusive and just really inviting.
The Wolf's Den in Denver is inviting everyone into their shop, highlighting female and non-binary tattoo artists.
As a wolf pack, when we all work together, we can do great things.
Only 50s and 60s for highs today over eastern Colorado, but 70s and 80s are on the way.
And goal.
Into the slot. Who's puck? Score!
After goal.
Shot! Score! Anthony!
After goal.
Back across for a drive. They score!
We're breaking down that nerve-wracking finish as the Avs pull out the first win of the Western Conference Finals.
I feel like we got to be tighter as a group, and we know that, and so focus moves to game 2.